Hey everyone, it's Suzi here, and today we're playing King Arthur Legends Rise. For today's video, we're going to do another basics guide, this time on Arsellus. Alright, so this is one you'll unlock a little bit later, being able to farm for some keepsakes, and of course the materials in order to craft some of those amazing keepsakes. However, it's pretty tough one. There's two heads, as you can see. There's a lot going on with this boss, so we're going to dive in, read all the in-game info, look at the boss skills, and check out the CM tips like before. I do love these basics guides. I've done some on others. If you're stuck, go check out those videos. And, well, I feel like it's good for me just as a reminder. There's so much I forget about when you're just grinding and you're like, ugh, I need to progress in this one. Let me replace someone with someone, and you forget a whole mechanic of the boss. Like, I feel like I love doing these now because I'm reminding myself how to do these damn dungeons and progress. As you can see, I've only done stage 6 here, but I haven't tried to push this one that much harder, and I'll explain why. So this is one that I was going to push a bit more when I got Sergius, because I think he's so good for the attack gauge, like control, yeah, not control, but like boosting and stuff as well, I guess both. He's just a really interesting hero for this dungeon. And I also hadn't had my Anya built up, which I think actually it's going to be Guinevere that's a bit more fun for this. I'm not sure. I can't decide on this one yet. But Recovery Disruption, I do have Aquilon and Morgan, so there's lots of options for this dungeon. So this boss is Spirit. Why do I keep wanting to call it Spirit? Storm element, and Flame is strong against Storm. That does bode well for using Morgan with her Flame Relic, which also does the Recovery Disruption and provides some attack gauge control, which is really fun. However, Sergius, not everyone has, I understand, but you should because he's free with the arena shop. And I don't really push arena at all, and I have enough currency to buy multiple heroes already by now, so unless you just started with global launch, you might be a little bit behind there, but soon enough you'll have plenty of currency to buy both Sergius and Florentinius completely free to play, no spending needed. I've never pushed arena high. And Luke here with his passive actually recharges all allies' attack gauge when using his first skill, so that can definitely come in handy. Of course, there's other heroes that boost attack gauge as well, like Gillian, so I'm surprised she's not recommended here, but yeah, interesting, so let's read about it. Arsellus and their allies increase their attack proportional to the number of hits they take, so you need heroes that deal a great damage with each hit. Ooh, proportional to the number of hits they take. So you don't want multi-hit heroes, you just want one big nuke. But Morgan... So this might be a case where you use Morgan's third skill for the Recovery Disruption and try to avoid the second skill. Definitely a good idea. Although I switched to the Flame Relic. Although it is only one hit difference, so debatable. But yeah, her third skill is going to be a bit more ideal. Alright, so Arsellus manipulates time to cast aging on heroes to decrease attack speed and constantly drain attack gauges, so make sure to use heroes with attack gauge increase skills to counter these effects. When things grow dire, Arsellus will turn back time in an attempt to recover HP. Stop Arsellus by using heroes who can disrupt recovery. Alright. Here we go. So there's a little dragon cub, of course. There's a first wave. So these little dragons here, oh boy, they have Recovery Disruption that they put on you, which I remember being super annoying. But they also can reduce your attack gauge as well. So it's a pretty tough little wave to go through if you're not strong enough to just quickly nuke them, honestly. So Arsellus himself, he casts Oblivion for one turn. It's only a low chance though. And then let's see here, Black Wrath attacks all enemies 2 times. First hit has a chance to decrease attack gauge by 30%. And same thing here, decreasing attack gauge and oblivion with this skill. And this one is the aging that they mentioned. So reduces your attack speed. And the final one here is an AoE that also reduces attack gauge and places shock. And shock is a minus damage. Ooh, you deal less damage every turn. Ooh, I don't like that. And applies critical strike rate a decrease. And the passives here are super annoying, of course, as well. So at the beginning of the battle, you cannot, well, you know, he places all the buffs that allow him to be pretty tough with no dots, no abnormal statuses, all of that taken away. So you can't come in and try to use dots to take out this boss. And recovery disruption on all enemies as well. So this is, I love when they do like the bosses where you have to do the thing to them that they do to you. And that's definitely the case for this one. We have front legs and a left head. The front legs inflict oblivion, so you could choose to take those out if you want first. And you deal with attack gauge as well. This is one of those that you definitely want to experiment with strategies as far as attacking only the main head or attacking the side things to make sure this stuff is not happening to you. If you could take them out fairly quickly, it might be best to take out the side legs or head, so that way you are not getting extra chances to have oblivion placed and your attack gauge decreased even more. If this is a bit a hard one for me, so I kind of say if lightly. All right, and then we have aging with the other head and inflict attack speed reversal on all enemies. Oh dear. And abnormal statuses are removed from enemies when it dies. So if you have a bunch of oblivions on you or recovery disruptions, aging, whatever. Not recovery disruption. That's only a debuff, right? Then there you go. That's a way to remove it. So you could definitely try to remove this head. So when it dies, it's going to remove those annoying oblivions. All right, let's just head on into the CM tips and see what they have to say. So, Fortress of Arsellus. Obtain keepsake equipment with corrosion, immortal, or strife effects in this dungeon. Attacks increase based on the number of hits he's received, and include in your team heroes that can inflict recovery disruption and grant attack gauge charge effects. It is the third equipment dungeon that you unlock while playing. You do have to go through, I think, is this one where it's 5-7 hard or you don't unlock it? I think so. I might be thinking of something else. I think that's 5-7 hard. Alright, keepsakes are powerful equipment that can be equipped based on the hero's awakening tier. They're separate from regular equipment and allow heroes to power up even further. Clearing Fortress of Arsellus is essentially to obtain keepsakes. So again here, this boss, yeah, that first passive is rough. It starts the battle with abnormal status immunity, a dot immunity, and hits taken equals an increase of attack. That's a lot to start with. And it does for the rest of the battle keywords, so I don't think you can remove those. And there you go. Here is a sample here of the team. I think we can tell what they're going to suggest again. So Arsellus is a boss whose attack increases based on the number of hits it received, and also has a recovery skill. While this dungeon rewards are very attractive, clearing the dungeon is quite difficult, and the heroes can be deployed here are limited, which is why I haven't pushed it very far. I just felt like I didn't have the right heroes that I would want to use yet, at least not built. The dungeon is divided into 3 waves, making it hard to increase and optimized formation. Make sure to include strong single target damage dealers and heroes capable of recovery disruption. Heroes with attack gauge charge effect can counter the boss's attack gauge decrease and will also help ensuring a smoother battle. Alright, here is the recommended basic team. We have a Flame Morgan, Flame Clementine, Bodwin with his Frost, and Arthur with Flame. So yeah, I could see why Arthur for this one, but I don't think most people are going to go crazy maxing out Arthur. Personally, I would say to not choose Arthur for this dungeon if you can help it. At least don't take Arthur to 60 just for this. There's going to be some better options. We'll talk about those. Hopefully they suggest some others as well. But all right. So Clementine and Morgan can inflict attack gauge decrease effect in Arsellus, while Baldwin's share damage and defense increase will help reduce the damage taken by all allies. Morgan's damage taken increase and recovery disruption will increase the damage dealt with Arthur in this balanced team. I mean, I guess because of the elemental lineup, like you wouldn't use your Bedivere here. So maybe he is one of the better options, unfortunately. However, I don't see people maxing out Arthur just for this. And his Flame Relic isn't that strong. But he does do single target damage and he buffs himself. So he is the DPS for this core example team. Claudius. Oh yeah, there we go. Claudius might be a better example. So Sergius, Gillian, Morgan, and Claudius are the advanced suggestion. So this is really smart with, let's see, Jillian's ability to remove abnormal status and grant abnormal status immunity and recovery in order to protect your allies, while Morgan, recovery disruption. Sergius can grant attack gauge charge to allies while inflicting attack gauge decrease effect to Arsellus. Set Claudius as the main DPS with her attack speed increase amplification effects to amplification effects to increase overall damage in this powerful team. So that's what I remember was this is one of those who I thought Claudius was going to be good for, and I did not have her built yet, so I've been waiting on pushing this dungeon as well. Sergius and Claudius were people I were going to push for a bunch of dungeons actually, but only so much time, only so many resources, so I haven't focused it yet myself. So some other tips to keep in mind is that it is storm element. So you want storm or ideally flame heroes. You don't want a DPS like Bedivere again, that is frost, because that is not going to be ideal. And he's probably just going to die very quickly, unless you use Bedivere with a different artifact. Environmental effects of day and rain are applied in the frozen plain. So day, there are a bunch of heroes that thrive with that, but Morgan is not one of them, so that's something to keep in mind, but she's still going to be great here. Starting from level 7 onward, the dungeon will consist of 3 waves, and on its 3rd wave, Arsellus uses his recovery skill. Only keepsakes corresponding to each hero's favor can be equipped. And main story 5, 7 hard is where you unlock this dungeon. Alright, so it is wave 3 is the recoveries, so you keep that in mind when it comes to timing out your skills. If you're doing things manually, you might change your priority of skills to make sure Morgan is going to land the recovery disruption when you really need it. And there it is, there's the boss. Alright guys, that's it for the info. Let's go ahead and take a look at their little suggested battle here that they use as an example. So this is 5 minutes long, so we're going to increase the speed again and see how they do. I don't know which level they are doing. Oh, 105. Okay, so higher. All right, so this is the team that is the sample basic team that they tend to use for these examples, right? It makes sense. So Arthur is the main DPS of this team for sure. And they skip the first wave, of course. Clementine is great. I love her so much. She also can decrease the attack gauge herself, so she's a really great option here. And depending on which relic you use for Clementine, you could cleanse as well. You could cleanse abnormal status or dots or debuffs, depending on which one you use. And she's just a great little healer. But see, even she decreased the attack gauge of the left head when she did that bonus extra attack. That's all just stuff that adds up that helps make it a little bit easier to beat. Oof. Those debuffs are rough though, I don't like it. So that's, I want to click the thing, I wish it was in-game want to click to show the description of it, but it's okay. I like how they make these teams really scary. This is the... I did another one already. And this one is just like that. The team looks like it's gonna die. It looks like it's going to die. So that's that phase, and now it's gonna go into the next phase. The final phase, the third phase. And this is where it will do that recovery skill. So which one are they attacking first? I think they're attacking the main Arsellus. So yeah, they are sticking to the strategy of focusing the main head. But if you can do any sort of extra attack gauge dropping to make sure the other heads or appendages don't go, it's always helpful. Oof. Look at how low their health is. I don't like that. Oof. That was Arthur? They made their Arthur smack. Okay. So that's an interesting choice there, but yeah, I think Claudus, she comes with her flame relic anyway, so it's a good excuse to build a hero that is a little bit more niche, but actually is kind of perfect for this. But yeah, hope this video was helpful and gave you guys a little bit of reminders for forming your teams versus the Fortress of Arsellus. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. If you're having trouble in some of the other dungeons, be sure to check out my other Dungeon Basics guides, where I go over some of the other CM tips, as well as add in some knowledge and reading everything in game.